The silverback moves with deliberate calm through a tangle of stems and leaves, his massive hands closing around vegetation that looks more suited to resisting storms than feeding animals. Thick stalks snap under controlled force. Leaves are stripped, folded, and fed into a mouth built for grinding rather than slicing. There is no rush, no scanning for predators, no urgency in posture or pace. To an observer, conditioned by decades of soft-focus wildlife imagery, this looks like tranquility embodied, a peaceful giant browsing on greenery. But this calm is not innocence. It is confidence born from biological dominance. The plants surrounding the gorilla are not soft or passive. They are coarse, fibrous, chemically defended, and in many cases mildly toxic. Nettles sting. Leaves are packed with tannins that bind proteins and reduce digestibility. Stems contain silica and lignin that wear down teeth. This vegetation exists precisely because most animals cannot afford to eat it in large quantities. Gorillas do not ignore this fact. They exploit it. What defines a gorilla is not what it eats, but how much and how slowly it can process. In ecosystems where calories are diluted across massive volumes of plant matter, size becomes leverage. A gorilla's body is not built for speed or precision feeding. It is built for throughput. Large guts, slow transit times, and dense microbial communities allow gorillas to extract energy from food that would starve smaller primates. This is not a vegetarian lifestyle. It is industrial-scale digestion. Inside the gorilla's abdomen exists a fermentation chamber rivaling that of large grazing mammals. Cellulose, hemicellulose, and resistant plant compounds are broken down by microbial populations that turn fiber into short-chain fatty acids, which are then absorbed and used for energy. This process is inefficient in the short term, but devastatingly effective over time. The gorilla does not need rich food. It needs enough surface area and enough time. This internal ecosystem dictates behavior. Gorillas feed for hours each day, but they do not travel far. They remain within zones where bulk vegetation is abundant and predictable. Movement is minimized because locomotion burns calories faster than leaves can replace them. Instead, gorillas reposition feeding sites by reshaping the forest itself, bending stems, breaking branches, and clearing pathways through repeated use. Over time, their feeding routes become ecological corridors. Crucially, gorillas do not eat plants indiscriminately. They browse with selectivity that belies their size. Specific plant parts are targeted at specific times. Young shoots are preferred when available because they contain more digestible protein and fewer defensive compounds. Mature leaves are consumed when necessary, but often in combination with other foods to dilute toxin intake. Roots, bark, and pith are accessed strategically, not constantly. Every feeding decision manages a balance between fiber intake and chemical load. This matters because many of the plants gorillas eat are not harmless. Secondary compounds can interfere with digestion, damage organs, or disrupt microbial balance if consumed in excess. Gorillas manage this risk not through immunity, but through dose control. By mixing foods, rotating plant species, and spacing intake over long feeding sessions, they keep toxin levels below dangerous thresholds. The gut does the rest, neutralizing compounds slowly rather than rapidly, preventing systemic shock. Their size amplifies this advantage. A large body dilutes toxins more effectively than a small one. Concentrations that would overwhelm a smaller primate become manageable when spread across hundreds of kilograms of tissue and fluid. Detoxification organs operate with more margin. Fermentation chambers hold more volume. Time works in the gorilla's favor. In a low-calorie, chemically hostile environment, mass is protection. This physiological reality reshapes gorilla society. Aggression is rare, not because gorillas are gentle by nature, but because aggression is unnecessary and costly. Food is abundant but slow to process. There is little benefit to fighting over leaves when digestion, not access, is the bottleneck. Dominance is maintained through presence rather than violence. A silverback's role is not to fight constantly, but to regulate group movement and spacing to maintain feeding efficiency. Predator interactions reinforce this stability. Adult gorillas are rarely preyed upon due to size alone. Leopards may target juveniles, but the risk is limited. This reduces the need for constant vigilance or flight responses. Calm feeding is possible because danger is low, not because gorillas are naive. Their bodies have crossed a threshold where few predators are willing to challenge them. The real ecological impact of gorillas becomes visible only after they leave. Their waste is not refuse. It is fertilizer, seed dispersal, and microbial inoculation rolled into one. Gorilla dung is rich in partially digested plant matter and microbial life, deposited in concentrated patches across the forest. Seeds pass through the gut, scarified and ready to germinate. Nutrients are redistributed from feeding zones to resting sites. Over time, gorilla movement patterns shape plant composition and forest structure. In this sense, gorillas are mobile compost engines. They consume low-quality vegetation, transform it internally, and reintroduce it into the ecosystem in a more usable form. This feedback loop supports plant diversity and regeneration, particularly for species adapted to large herbivore dispersal. Remove gorillas, and these systems unravel quietly but decisively. The myth of the gentle vegetarian collapses under this weight of evidence. Gorillas are not passive consumers of a benign environment. They are architects of nutrient flow, operating at a scale few primates ever achieve. Their calm demeanor is not softness, it is efficiency. Their strength is not expressed through violence, but through the ability to dominate a food web by making the inedible usable. Even their resting behavior reinforces this role. Long periods of inactivity allow fermentation to proceed uninterrupted. Heat generated by microbial digestion is dissipated slowly, reducing metabolic strain. The gorilla's day is not idle. It is paced according to internal chemical processes rather than external stimuli. Time bends inward. In fragmented forests, this strategy falters. Reduced plant diversity limits toxin dilution. Increased travel raises energy costs. Human-altered vegetation often lacks the fiber profiles gorillas evolved to process. What appears to be dietary flexibility is actually narrow optimization. Gorillas survive because ecosystems still exist that match their design. Change the system too quickly, and size becomes a liability rather than an advantage. Seen honestly, gorillas are not symbols of peace. They are symbols of biological scale. They win not by speed, intelligence, or aggression, but by being large enough, slow enough, and internally complex enough to turn a hostile plant world into fuel. Their gut is a hidden ecosystem. Their body is a processing plant. And the forest around them is shaped not by what they destroy, but by what they digest. The silverback feeds calmly because he is not surviving on leaves. He is surviving on time, microbes, and mass working together in a system refined beyond spectacle. Before the forest wakes, the sound arrives first. A deep, rolling call tears through the humid darkness, low enough to vibrate leaves and water alike, carrying for kilometers across the canopy. It does not belong to a predator, nor to some unseen storm. It comes from the chest of a howler monkey, perched high in the treetops, announcing presence without movement. In the half-light of dawn, the forest feels suddenly occupied, claimed, organized. And then, almost immediately, the noise fades. What follows is not action, but stillness. As daylight filters through the leaves, the scene becomes deceptively uneventful. Howler monkeys sit. They feed slowly. They shift position with minimal effort. There is no frantic foraging, no rapid travel between trees, no dramatic competition. To an untrained eye, this looks like underperformance, even lethargy. But this calm is not a flaw. It is the visible surface of an energy strategy refined by millions of years of dietary constraint. These animals are not failing to act. They are actively conserving. Howler monkeys are among the largest arboreal primates in the Americas, and their size is sustained on one of the least efficient food sources available to a mammal: leaves. Leaves are abundant, but they are chemically defended, structurally reinforced, and nutritionally diluted. They contain cellulose that cannot be broken down by mammalian enzymes alone, along with toxins designed to discourage exactly this kind of feeding. To survive on foliage, a primate must solve multiple problems at once: how to extract enough calories, how to avoid poisoning, and how to keep energy expenditure lower than energy intake. Howler monkeys solve all three by slowing everything down. Inside the body of a howler monkey is a digestive system built for patience. Their large, compartmentalized gut houses microbial communities capable of fermenting plant fiber, much like the system seen in grazing mammals. This fermentation converts cellulose into fatty acids that the monkey can absorb and use as fuel. But fermentation is slow, and it produces heat and gas. Rapid movement would disrupt digestion and waste energy that cannot be quickly replaced. So howlers minimize movement by design, not by accident. This internal limitation shapes every visible behavior. Feeding sessions are long and deliberate. Individuals select leaves carefully, often preferring young foliage that contains slightly more protein and fewer structural fibers. But youth alone is not enough. Leaves from different tree species contain different chemical defenses, and howlers must constantly manage toxin load. They do this not through immunity, but through choice. A howler monkey will sniff a leaf, mouth it briefly, and then discard it without swallowing. These tiny decisions, repeated hundreds of times per day, prevent toxic overload that could overwhelm the liver or disrupt gut microbes. The forest canopy becomes a chemical map. Each feeding tree represents not just calories, but risk. Eating too much from one species concentrates specific toxins. Eating too little means wasted effort. The solution is selective mixing. Howler monkeys rotate between plant species, balancing intake across chemical profiles in a way that reduces cumulative toxicity. This is not conscious calculation, but learned physiological tuning, reinforced by gut feedback and discomfort avoidance. When a leaf causes irritation or bloating, it is quietly removed from the menu. Because digestion is slow and food quality is low, resting is not optional. It is mandatory. Howler monkeys spend the majority of their day inactive, often motionless for hours. During these periods, fermentation continues, nutrients are absorbed, and the body stabilizes. Any unnecessary movement would create an energy deficit that cannot be repaid quickly. In this context, stillness is not laziness. It is metabolic discipline. This strategy also explains the seemingly minimal social drama within many howler groups. Aggression is costly. Chasing rivals, engaging in prolonged conflict, or constantly repositioning would burn calories faster than leaves can replace them. Instead, dominance is often expressed acoustically. The famous dawn calls that echo through the forest serve as territorial markers, reducing the need for physical confrontation. A single male can broadcast his presence across vast distances without leaving his branch, conserving energy while maintaining social order. Even group structure reflects digestive constraint. Howler troops are typically small to medium in size, reducing competition for feeding sites. Feeding trees are reused across days, allowing individuals to exploit known resources rather than explore energetically expensive alternatives. Mothers with infants move even less, positioning themselves in stable canopy zones where food and safety overlap. Juveniles learn early that reckless movement comes with a price paid later in hunger or discomfort. Predation pressure interacts with this system in subtle ways. Howler monkeys are vulnerable to large cats and birds of prey, yet they do not rely on speed to escape. Instead, they rely on height, early detection, and the sheer inconvenience of targeting a large, slow-moving animal embedded in dense foliage. Remaining still reduces visual detection. Vocal alarms are brief and efficient. Panic is avoided because panic burns energy and increases exposure. Once again, restraint wins. The contrast between sound and silence defines the howler's identity. Their calls are among the loudest produced by any land animal relative to body size, powered by an enlarged hyoid bone that acts as a resonating chamber. This anatomical investment allows them to communicate dominance and spacing without movement. It is an acoustic solution to an energetic problem. Speak loudly once and rest the rest of the day. The most revealing moments come during feeding transitions. A howler monkey will often pause between bites, holding a leaf in hand while chewing finishes. The jaw works slowly. The eyes half close. This is not boredom. It is pacing. Overloading the gut too quickly would disrupt fermentation balance. Eating too fast risks bloating, discomfort, or reduced nutrient extraction. The monkey feeds at the speed its microbes can handle. In disturbed or fragmented forests, this strategy becomes a liability. Reduced plant diversity limits dietary mixing. Increased travel between patches raises energy costs. Human-altered landscapes favor flexible feeders, not specialists. Howler populations can persist surprisingly well in some fragmented areas, but only when key tree species remain. Remove the chemical variety, and the system collapses from the inside. Seen properly, the howler monkey is not a passive leaf eater drifting through the canopy. It is a tightly regulated biological system built around constraint management. Every aspect of its life, from its voice to its posture, is shaped by the need to extract value from low-quality food without crossing toxic thresholds. Movement is minimized. Choices are refined. Time is stretched. What looks like inactivity is actually precision. The howler monkey survives not by doing more, but by doing less with absolute consistency. In a forest where energy is scarce and danger is constant, restraint becomes power. The forest of Madagascar does not offer mercy evenly. At first glance it looks lush, green and generous, but this illusion collapses quickly once the seasons turn. Rain comes and goes without warning, fruiting cycles stall, and entire hillsides of vegetation shift from abundance to chemical hostility. In this landscape, starvation is not an exception. It is a recurring pressure that shapes every decision an animal makes. Lemurs did not evolve here because conditions were kind. They survived because they learned how to eat things that should have killed them. In the eastern rainforests, bamboo stands rise in dense clusters, their stalks creaking in the wind, their leaves sharp-edged and tough. For most primates, bamboo is a last resort. It is fibrous, nutritionally poor, and chemically defended with cyanogenic compounds that release cyanide when the plant tissue is damaged. Cyanide blocks cellular respiration. It shuts down energy production at the molecular level. In sufficient doses, it causes rapid death. Yet high in these bamboo thickets, lemurs feed calmly, stripping shoots and chewing methodically as if the risk does not exist. This behavior is not ignorance. It is precision. The greater bamboo lemur survives on a diet that delivers cyanide doses far exceeding what would be lethal to most mammals of similar size. But it does not consume bamboo indiscriminately. Every bite is timed. Every plant part is selected with purpose. Young shoots, mature culms, leaves and pith all contain different concentrations of toxins, and those concentrations fluctuate with rainfall, growth stage, and season. The lemur's survival depends on knowing when each part can be eaten safely and when it must be avoided. This is not instinct alone. It is learned chemical navigation passed down through generations. Juveniles observe adults closely, sampling cautiously, rejecting more than they swallow. A wrong choice does not always kill immediately, but it leaves feedback in the form of nausea, weakness, or digestive distress. Those signals shape future decisions. Over time, the lemur becomes a walking chemical analyst, mapping toxicity across the forest without instruments, guided by taste, smell, and post-ingestion consequences. Inside the body, the battle continues. The gut of the bamboo lemur hosts microbial communities capable of breaking down cyanogenic compounds before they enter the bloodstream in dangerous concentrations. This does not eliminate the toxin entirely, but it slows and reduces its impact. The liver then processes what remains, converting it into less harmful substances that can be excreted. This system works only within narrow limits. Exceed them, and the animal dies. Stay within them, and a lethal plant becomes a reliable food source. What makes this strategy remarkable is not just tolerance, but timing. During periods when fruit is available, bamboo consumption decreases. When drought or cyclones disrupt other food sources, bamboo intake increases, even though toxin exposure rises. This is where the real pressure shows. Starvation forces risk. The lemur does not eat poison because it prefers danger. It eats poison because the alternative is worse. This pattern repeats across Madagascar, though the specifics change with species and habitat. Some lemurs consume seeds laced with alkaloids. Others target leaves high in tannins that bind proteins and interfere with digestion. In each case, the solution is not immunity, but management. Lemurs mix foods to dilute toxin load. They rest extensively to reduce metabolic stress while detoxification occurs. They adjust feeding times to align with toxin breakdown cycles. The forest is not just a pantry, it is a chemical minefield. Predators add another layer to this equation. Feeding on toxic or fibrous plants limits movement and reaction speed. Lemurs compensate by choosing feeding sites with escape routes, height, and visibility. They eat slowly, often pausing to scan the surroundings. Alarm calls are sharp and brief, because prolonged panic burns energy needed for detoxification and digestion. Once again, restraint is survival. Madagascar's isolation is the silent architect behind all of this. Cut off from mainland Africa for tens of millions of years, the island became a biological pressure cooker. Large-bodied herbivores never arrived. Many plant lineages evolved without grazers capable of overwhelming them physically, so they invested heavily in chemical defenses instead. Toxins became cheaper than thorns. Slow poisoning replaced mechanical deterrents. Any primate that wanted to survive here had to play by those rules. Lemurs did not outcompete these plants. They negotiated with them. Evolution favored individuals who could tolerate slightly higher toxin levels, who could detect bitterness more precisely, who could host microbes capable of partial detoxification. Over time, this produced animals that do not dominate their environment, but coexist with its dangers at the edge of survivability. This is why lemurs appear so deliberate when feeding. The pauses are not hesitation, they are calculation. A bamboo shoot is rotated in the hand, sniffed, sampled, and sometimes discarded. A leaf is chewed briefly and dropped. The forest floor beneath a feeding site is often littered with rejected fragments, evidence of constant testing. What looks inefficient is actually hyper-selective. Seasonal stress amplifies this behavior. During lean months, lemurs lose weight, reduce activity, and retreat into core feeding areas where known plants can be exploited safely. Social tensions decrease because competition raises energy expenditure. Infants grow more slowly. Reproduction becomes sporadic. The entire population enters a holding pattern, waiting for conditions to improve. This is not collapse. It is endurance. When abundance returns, the shift is immediate. Diets diversify. Movement increases. Social interactions intensify. But the memory of chemical danger remains. Lemurs never become reckless, because the cost of forgetting is death. The ecosystem does not forgive mistakes twice. What makes this system so fragile is how finely tuned it is. Remove a single plant species, and the dietary balance shifts. Introduce invasive plants without the same chemical profiles, and learned feeding strategies fail. Fragment forests, and the spatial memory that supports safe foraging collapses. Lemurs cannot simply switch to new foods without relearning toxicity from scratch, and that learning curve is steep and lethal. This is why lemurs struggle so profoundly in altered landscapes and captivity. Diets that seem nutritionally rich can overload detox systems. Fruits without toxins encourage overconsumption and metabolic imbalance. The very traits that allowed survival in Madagascar become liabilities elsewhere. Seen clearly, lemurs are not evolutionary oddities or playful forest ornaments. They are survivors of a brutal experiment in isolation, shaped by hunger, poison, and timing. They eat what would kill other primates not because they are fearless, but because the island left them no other choice. Madagascar wrote the rules. Lemurs learned to survive by obeying them with absolute precision. At the edge of a slow brown river, where mangrove roots claw into oxygen-poor mud and tidal water breathes in and out of the forest twice a day, large-bodied monkeys move with deliberate patience through the canopy. Adult males are impossible to miss. Their noses hang heavy and pendulous, swollen with cartilage and soft tissue, catching the humid air as they tilt their heads downward to feed. The forest here is not generous. The leaves are thick, fibrous, and chemically defended, built to survive salt spray, flooding, and relentless insect pressure. Yet the proboscis monkeys feed on them steadily, methodically, stripping handfuls of foliage and chewing with the calm confidence of animals that know they are equipped for exactly this task. This is not abundance in the conventional sense. This is survival through specialization. The spectacle of a proboscis monkey eating looks unimpressive at first glance. There is no explosive hunt, no dramatic chase, no visible conflict. A male reaches out, selects mature leaves that most herbivores would avoid, and chews slowly, jaw muscles working with minimal urgency. But the real action is not happening in the canopy. It is happening deep inside the body, in a digestive system that functions less like a stomach and more like an industrial fermentation chamber. These monkeys are not browsing leaves casually. They are running a biochemical operation that turns low-quality plant matter into usable energy through microbial labor. Inside the torso of a proboscis monkey sits an enlarged, multi-chambered stomach, a structure more reminiscent of a ruminant than a typical primate. The forest leaves they consume are packed with cellulose, hemicellulose, and lignin, compounds that most mammals cannot break down efficiently on their own. Instead of relying on brute digestion, proboscis monkeys outsource the work to dense communities of symbiotic microbes. These bacteria ferment the plant fibers, producing short-chain fatty acids that the monkey's body can absorb and use as fuel. The process is slow, gas-producing, and metabolically expensive, but it allows access to a food source that is largely ignored by competitors. This fermentation system is not a bonus feature. It is the foundation of the proboscis monkey's entire ecological niche. The leaves available in mangrove forests and river-edge swamp forests are abundant but nutritionally diluted. Protein content is low. Secondary plant compounds, including tannins and alkaloids, are common. For most primates, these chemicals interfere with digestion or cause toxicity. For proboscis monkeys, microbial fermentation neutralizes some of these compounds before they reach the bloodstream, allowing the animals to tolerate foliage that would otherwise be dangerous. The gut does not merely extract calories. It acts as a chemical filter, buffering the monkey from the plant's defensive strategies. This internal machinery, however, comes with strict constraints. Fermentation is slow, and the stomach chambers are large and heavy. Rapid movement would be energetically wasteful and physically uncomfortable. As a result, proboscis monkeys live at a measured pace. They travel short distances, feed for long periods, and spend extended hours resting to allow digestion to proceed efficiently. Their daily rhythm is shaped not by predators or competition, but by microbial processing time. In effect, the bacteria set the schedule. This explains the characteristic behavior seen along riverbanks at dawn and dusk, when groups of proboscis monkeys gather in riverside trees. These locations are not chosen for scenery. They are chosen for safety and digestive necessity. After a long day of feeding on fermentable leaves, the monkeys retreat to sleeping sites close to water, minimizing travel while maximizing access to food the following morning. Jumping long distances or climbing aggressively would increase energy expenditure without increasing intake. Their bodies are built for efficiency, not athleticism. The oversized abdomen often noted in adult males is not a sign of obesity. It is a visible consequence of this digestive strategy. The stomach must hold large volumes of partially fermented plant matter, along with the gases produced during microbial breakdown. This is why diet changes in captivity are so dangerous for proboscis monkeys. When fed fruit-heavy or starch-rich foods designed for other primates, fermentation accelerates uncontrollably. Gas builds up faster than it can be expelled. The result can be severe bloating, intestinal rupture, or death. What looks like dietary flexibility in many monkeys becomes a lethal trap here. The system is optimized for leaves, and leaves only. This rigidity explains why proboscis monkeys are so tightly bound to specific habitats. They cannot simply move inland and switch diets if mangroves are cleared or riverside forests are logged. Their gut microbiome is tuned to particular plant species and fiber profiles. Remove those plants, and the entire digestive economy collapses. Unlike frugivorous primates that can exploit seasonal abundance or human-modified landscapes, proboscis monkeys are prisoners of their own specialization. Their evolutionary success has locked them into ecological dependency. Even their social structure reflects this constraint. Group sizes are moderate, feeding competition is low, and aggression around food is minimal. Leaves are plentiful but slow to process, making hoarding or rapid consumption pointless. Instead, individuals space themselves across feeding trees, selecting leaves that meet their digestive requirements, while avoiding overloading their stomachs with immature foliage that ferments too aggressively. Females, juveniles, and males all participate in this slow-motion grazing, their movements coordinated more by digestion than dominance. Predator avoidance, too, is influenced by this internal machinery. A proboscis monkey cannot afford the metabolic cost of constant vigilance or rapid escape. Instead, they rely on early detection and strategic positioning. Sleeping near rivers provides escape routes from terrestrial predators, while tall canopy trees reduce exposure to ambush from below. Their large size and muted coloration help them blend into the foliage rather than sprint away from danger. The gut, once again, dictates the strategy. From an evolutionary perspective, the proboscis monkey represents an extreme commitment to efficiency over flexibility. Where many primates diversify diets to survive unpredictable environments, this species doubled down on a single solution and refined it to an extraordinary degree. The reward is access to an underused food source with minimal competition. The cost is vulnerability to environmental change. When mangroves disappear, there is no backup plan hidden in the genome or the gut. Seen through this lens, the proboscis monkey is not an oddity defined by its nose, but a biological machine optimized for chemical warfare with plants. Its real power is invisible, humming quietly inside a fermentation chamber that turns defensive foliage into life. Every slow movement, every extended rest, every cautious leap is a downstream effect of microbial labor. The forest feeds the gut. The gut dictates behavior, and behavior anchors the species to a narrow strip of land where leaves are tough, water is close, and patience is the only viable strategy. The monkey in the tree is not lazy. It is waiting for billions of microbes to finish their work.